Hey everybody, welcome to today's video where we're going to be drawing a fighting fly. That is a fighting fly. So it's going to be a fly, just your regular old house fly, with some boxing gloves on. And the reason we're going to do that combination is because I think flies are kind of cool, and I'm a huge Rocky Balboa fan. I've seen all the Rockies about 1 billion times. So let's do a fly with some boxing gloves. So we're going to start with our brush, our nice soft brush. We have our layer 1 starting here, and we're going to start to sketch out our fly. And flies, as we know, have really big eyes, and we're going to really exaggerate those. Going to get his little mouth going, and again with the sketch layer, it's all about moving quickly, taking your time. Looks like a big spaghetti bowl almost you're kind of making here. It's not about being accurate and detailed, it's about just getting things where you want them to be. So we've got the fly's arm here, we've got the other arm, look at his boxing gloves out, he's in his defensive position. And then we're going to do the legs, get the wings going in the back, and again this is just the first layer using very loose lines to sketch. So as you can see, we've got the eyes here, we've got the boxing gloves here, we've got his wings here, and we're ready to go to the next part. So let's add a layer number 2. This is going to be our technical pen layer, so we're going to go under inking, and as you can see there's many pens to choose from here in Procreate, but I like using the technical pen. So we're going to go here and we're going to draw the eyes. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, I am absolutely terrible at drawing circles. So luckily Procreate makes it where when you draw the circle and you stop and you hold the pen to the surface for a couple seconds, it makes the circle pretty perfect. So I'm a big fan of that feature. All right, so we've got the eyes of the fly. I was going to say the eye of the tiger. That brings me back to Rocky 3, but we won't go off on that tangent. I think it's one of the best Rockies. Anyway, so let's go to the fly's mouth. So we're going to bring the little mouth out here. And we're going to start to add some hair here on top, because when you look at them really closely, they got a lot of hair on them. So we're going to kind of exaggerate the hair coming off of this guy. He's got it on the top of his head. He's got it on his little mouth snout here. And all I'm doing is using the technical pen where I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the first part of the hair and then releasing the pressure as I go out. So it looks a little bit thinner as you work your way outward from doing the strokes. And I'm just going to add a couple here on the snout, on the edges mostly, to just get the feeling of the hair, because when we eventually color it in, the fly is going to be a darker color, so you're not going to see the hair as much. So we're going to put it on the outside part there. Now we're going to go to the body. So the next part of the fly, we're going to come down here, do another little circle, hold it down, get that nice perfect shape. And then we're going to do the last part of the fly, which is another circle here. Hold it down to the pen, hold the pen to the surface. It's going to make it nice and perfect in terms of the shape. And now we're going to add the wings. So we're going to go to the back of the fly and just lightly bring a little wing down there, another wing in the back. And we're making that line a little lighter than a little thinner than the other lines of the eyes and the framework of the body, because the wings are a little thinner than the actual torso of the fly. Now we're going to add the arms. So we know that flies have 6 legs or arms or things coming off their body. How about that for a technical term? All right, so here we got one arm, and now we're going to add the boxing glove. Nice little square. We're going to exaggerate the size of the glove, make it stand out a little more, because remember with cartoons it's all about that exaggeration, right? And then we're going to have the other boxing glove on the other side. Now we're going to add the other legs in, so we've got 2 more to add on this side. So we're going to have this one over here, and then this one down over here. And of course, since he's a boxer, we're going to give him some socks on this leg here. We're going to give him some socks on this other leg over here. We're going to give him some sneakers, some really quick little shoes here. And we're going to have to draw on the other side the other legs. So they're a little further away, so we're obviously going to make them a little bit smaller. We're going to add some socks on there, and we're going to add the shoes. And there we go. So let's see, now we're going to go back to layer number 1 and we're going to erase all of our original sketch lines. I'm going to clean this up, get a little better look at the fly here. And now we're going to go back to our layer number 2 and we're going to start to use the erase feature, and we're going to move around and just erase some lines that shouldn't be there now. For instance, here on the leg, we're going to start to erase one of the body lines that would not be showing because the leg is obviously in front of the torso. So we want to start looking around for these lines we want to get rid of. For instance, down the bottom on the leg, we're going to get rid of the line that runs through the sock, because unless he's wearing translucent socks, you're not going to see part of his leg, so that would completely make sense. So we're going to get rid of these lines in here, as you can see me doing right now. We're going to get rid of these lines on the front leg. And this is all just using the erase feature on the Procreate pad. All right, and now we're going to go up to the arm that has the boxing glove on it, and we're going to get rid of the torso line there. And then we're going to get rid of the torso line that is covering part of the boxing glove. So we're going to erase this part. All right, and now we're going to get rid of the other lines up over here with the other boxing glove on the other hand. All right. Okay. Just cleaning up a few lines on the glove. One more line of the torso on the front lower leg. All right, and we look like we're good to go there. So now I'm going to go back to the technical pen tool. I'm still in layer number 2, and I'm going to do some light lines on, some light thin lines on the fly's wings, just to show that they've got some detail to them. Not a lot, just a little bit to give you the idea of those are the wings, even though we know in the back of the fly those are wings. We're also going to go back to the erase button and erase this part of the eye near the snout, because it would be covered because the snout is in front of that other eye. So we want to make sure that's correct. We're back in the technical pen and we're still in layer number 2, and I'm just going to go around and add a couple little lines here and there. This is where I like to add in some line shading, and you heard me talk about this before in the other videos, where it's not cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is where you do something like this and you come back across and you do this kind of thing. I kind of like doing just the lines like themselves. They're all parallel going in the same direction, but whatever you want to do, that's totally fine. It's all about just getting across the point that you're adding some shading to different areas. So I'm just going to move around right now, and you're going to see just different parts of the fly have these little lines of shading. Remember, we always got to know where our light source is coming from. And since this is our universe, we control where the light is, right? So it's going to be coming from the top. So you're going to keep coloring little lines here and there for the shading. And now we're going to go next to the boxing glove. Give a couple lines there, a couple lines on the other side, a couple lines on the big lower half of the boxing glove. Same with the other one. And then we're going to start to come down to the socks, and we're going to do some lines in the socks, because we know they look like they're all bunched up, don't they? Yeah, he's not pulling them all the way up. They've either fallen down while he's fighting, or he prefers to have that style lower to the shoe. And we can't ask him so. Now we're going to go down to the bottom of the shoe, and we're going to add a little line down the bottom, give the shoes a little more detail. And with cartoon shoes, you can do just this kind of little back and forth kind of thing where you're shooting some lines. Almost looks like a little piece of turf grass. But we don't need to do every detail of the shoe as far as the shoelaces, so that you can really get away with just doing something like this and remembering that this is all about doing a cartoon, and a cartoon doesn't have to be incredibly detailed. You can if you want to, but I think it's kind of unnecessary considering what we're going for here. And it's really about over-exaggeration and simplification of a lot of these things. And you'd be surprised how much you can get away with just by doing something really simple like that. All right, so now we're going to add a little bit more of the line work up here, a little bit more over here, and a little bit more on the front torso there. All right, so as of right now, I feel that as I'm saying that, I'm doing more because I'm just looking around and wanting to add more. All right, so that's where we're going to stop as of now. Not saying it's done as far as the inking, but we might come back to it. But as of right now, we're going to jump to the color. So let's add layer number 3. We're going to go to our soft brush, and that's under airbrushing, and there it is at the top. And as far as the fly's colored eyes, do I want to do orange? Do I want to do red? Let's do a little orange-red kind of in the middle. Maybe a little more red to it. Maybe a little more, right about there. All right, so we're going to do the fly having this color eyes. We're going to make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to start filling this in. So there we go. And we're not going to worry about the edges until we're done. We'll use that as cleanup. Now for the fly's eyes, we're going to add a little shading. So we're going to drop this color down, and then we're going to go to the bottom of the fly's eyes, and we're going to start to bring this shade in that will make it look like the top part of the eye is having the light hit it and the bottom is not. So, and it really gives you a really good dynamic look between the light and the dark. Now we're going to drop it down again a little bit more, and we're going to add some more shading. Again, just lightly put pressure on the bottom. If you want a little bit darker, put more pressure. And that's really all it takes as far as that. Okay. Now we're going to go towards the top. We're going to take our white and we're going to give some light right on top of the eyes. So just like this. Again, it's all about putting hard pressure and then releasing it. Putting hard pressure, then releasing it. Hard and then releasing it. And that's what we want to do there. We're going to add just a slight line at the top of the eyes with the white to give the impression that it's hitting directly on top, just like that. Now we're going to clean up around the eyes. Normally I wait towards the end, but I'm going to use a few different layers on this for the coloring. So we're already here. We might as well just clean it up right now. So here we go. That was a big expression with my mom as far as, why wait to clean things up when you can do it right now? So she'd be pretty happy that I'm taking that tactic here right now, even though the later wouldn't be that much longer than the now. So, all right. So here we go around the eyes. We've got some good fly eyes right there. Now we're going to go to the 4th layer. We're going to drop that down. We're going to go to our blue. And we're going to bring the color wheel all the way down, not totally black, but pretty close, okay? And this is going to be for the fly's body. So we're going to go to the bottom half of the body because some flies have color in their actual midsection, which we're going to do in a little bit. Some flies are completely black, obviously, but some have some nice color in the midsection, which we're going to do on this one. It's going to be a very colorful fly. Now, for the shading on the bottom half, we've got to bring this down even lower because we've got to make the bottom part a little darker because the shade, remember, is in the bottom. So even though that's dark, we need to have the shade a little bit darker. Now we're going to add a little bit of the light hitting his midsection right here in the front. As you can see, it's getting lighter. Just a little bit there. And then we're going to take our eraser and we are going to go into the leg areas because I'm going to make the legs a little bit darker than the actual midsection, just a little bit. So we're going to erase this just like I'm doing now. We're going to clean up around the edges with our eraser. And we're going to keep moving around on the edges. All right, so there we go. Now we're going to go to another layer. We're going to add a 5th layer. And now we're going to do the legs of the fly. Now the legs of the fly, I'm immediately hitting the black. We're going to go just up a little bit. Okay, they're going to be pretty dark. We're going to use our soft brush and we're going to work our way back into the legs. Okay, now they're going to disappear at first. It's going to look like the legs aren't there because they're fading into the background of the actual bottom half of the fly, but we're going to fix that in a little bit. But for right now, we're just coloring this in dark. So all the legs. We're going to do the arm here in front. Give it a little fade here like that. Okay. Now, and we're also going to go up here to the snout, and we're going to add that in black as well. And as I mentioned earlier, the reason we put the little fur on the side is because it really gives it a nice look once it's dark. You really don't need to see the little individual hairs inside there, but you can do that with some light, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second. All right, so let's make these legs stand out a little bit. So we're going to go to our color wheel, and we are going to go a little bit further up, almost to the white, probably about right there. Now, we're going to go back one layer, and we're going to go back to layer 4. And the reason I go back to layer 4 is because if I make a mistake with the color on top of the legs, because it's on layer 4, I can erase and I won't lose the color of layer 5. If I stayed on layer 5 and I made a mistake, I'd have to recolor everything and it would erase everything. So here we go. So we're going to use the soft brush, and we're going to take the white, and we're going to start in the snout, okay? So up here in the nose, the snout of the fly, we're going to just do a really light little white line there that would indicate the light hitting it. We're also going to do, just slightly, a little bit of white here and a little bit of white there, just to show the light hitting it. Now we're going to do the same thing with the fly's arm, right here, the first arm that has the boxing glove, little bit of there, hitting right there. We're also going to go down to the leg, where the light is hitting. We're going to do the front part of the leg, as you can see it now there, and we're going to do the front part of the other leg. So it gives you the impression that you can actually see where the leg is, because without that, you really wouldn't, it would look like it would all blend in a little bit. So this helps it stand out a little bit right there. Now we're going to go to layer number 6, and we're going to bring that down, and we are going to do the actual midsection of the fly. Now, there's a lot of different colors here you could do for flies. I've seen all kinds of different colors, like a teal, a purple. I'm feeling we're going to go with a teal, almost a greenish blue, kind of right in here. So we're going to use that. We have our soft brush, and we're going to go right into the midsection. Okay. Here we go. And now we're going to drop this down, obviously, because we're going to do some shading. With our soft brush, we're going to go from the bottom up like this, creating that nice contrast. We're going to add a little bit more shade, so we're going to bring this down further. And then we're going to, like I said, add some pressure, just a little bit more. And there we go. Follow a little bit of the line work. I like to do that. So the line shading that we did on layer 2, I like to add some soft shade over that sometimes. It gives it a nice effect. And then we're going to switch this to white, and we're going to do some front of the fly light hitting, which we want, okay? And then we're going to do a line down the side of his chest right there, and it looks really cool. And then we're going to erase around the outside of the midsection. We're going to clean that up now. All right. And now we're going to go to another layer. This is going to be a lot of layers. We're going to go to layer number 7, and we're going to do the wings. Now the wings are going to be a really light, not white, but really light gray. And we're going to use the soft brush, and we're just going to lightly color these in a little bit. We don't even want to get all of it, because if we leave some white spacing, that does the trick in terms of making it look like it can be pretty translucent. We are going to add some shading, so bring this down to a little bit of the darker gray. And we're just going to go wherever we want back here. Kind of add some shading in. Not a lot, though. Not a lot, because we don't want it to make it seem like it's that thick. All right? And that's what we're going to do there. Now, since the wings are all the way on the back of the fly, we're going to stay in layer 7 because I'm going to color in the boxing gloves. And there's no way those two things are going to come across each other in this still drawing. So, we're going to color the boxing gloves a nice, good red. All right, so we're going to color these in. Here we go. And again, you don't have to worry about staying within the lines at this exact moment because we'll get that in a little bit. And you know what we're going to do now? We're going to drop down. We're going to get some darker red for the bottom of the boxing gloves as we're going to create that shade. All right. And we're going to do that for the other boxing glove. Here we go. All right, and we're going to drop down again for the third time, and we're going to make it a little darker on the bottom of the glove because we're putting a little bit more pressure down there. It gives it that nice dynamic shade. And now we're going to go to the white, and we're going to have the light hit the gloves. So we want to have it hit towards the top of the gloves, just like this, and we're just doing little light circular motions. We're going to add a little one on the thumb here, another one on this thumb, and then we're going to take our white and we're going to go along the top of the boxing glove, just like we did on the top of the eye, to show that that's where the light is hitting as well. Gives it a nice contrast with the red, and it really makes it stand out, which gives a nice effect of the light hitting. Now we're going to go to the erase feature and we're going to clean this up. So we're going to move around the side of the boxing gloves. Here we go. And we're just going to keep cleaning this up. All right, move around the back here. Sometimes the cleanup is more work than the actual drawing. All right, so now we're going to go to the white part of the boxing glove. So we're going to stay in layer 7. We're going to go to a blue. We're going to go to the gray. We're going to drop this down, and we're just going to give a little bit of shade on the bottom of the first part of the boxing glove. Even though this is white, the shade is a little bit gray, so it gives it that effect right there. All right, so let's see. So we have the fly's socks. Let's give the socks some color. Let's see. Let's give them some blue socks. So we're going to stay in layer 7 because again the boxing gloves are nowhere near the shoes. So we're going to take our soft brush and we are going to color in the socks a nice blue. So here we go. The fly is not matching, but that's okay though because I don't think that's his concern. His concern is fighting his opponent, which we can't see in this drawing, but I think he's pretty focused. All right, so let's color these in here. All right, and we're going to add some white here. We're going to use our soft brush, but we're going to make it a little bit smaller. And we're just going to give some lines here on the socks, make them a little more stylish. There we go. And now we're going to go down to the shoes. So the shoes we're going to make purple. I have no idea why I'm choosing purple, but that's what we're going with. So let's drop it down to layer number 8. And we are going to use the soft brush. And here we go. And again, you don't have to worry about staying within the lines just yet because we'll fix it. And it's really nice using the layers because it really relieves you from having to really worry about that. You know, if you were using a non-digital format, you know, which I had done for years, it was a lot of work in terms of just being very careful and all that kind of stuff. So I made the switch over to digital years ago, and it's just been so amazing because I can bring this with me anywhere, and I can do it whenever I want, and I can do all kinds of different layers. I can send it out. It's just, it's unbelievable. So, and I love doing this. So it's really easy for me to do this all the time. All right. So we're going to add a little bit of light here on the shoe. There we go. Looks like the light on the top. Now we're going to use the erase feature, and we're just going to erase the shoelace part where it's all white. Just a little bit there. All right, and I noticed something I need to fix, so I'm going back to layer 2. I'm using my inking technical pen, and I noticed that at the bottom I needed to put the outline of the shoe, which I just did. So, and if you didn't notice me fixing that, good. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we've got the shoes, we've got the socks, we've got the boxing gloves, and we're going to give it one quick look over to see if anything else needs to be added. I think we're pretty good. Oh, I might want to add a couple lines here on the boxing gloves just to show the distension of the gloves. It's stretching across here, which we want to show, which is good. And this is where I just go around and start adding a few lines in that I want to do here and there. But I think we're pretty much good to go. So I'm going to give the gloves a little couple motion signs right there on the side, which means he's moving the gloves. He's getting ready to put them up, so to speak. And the fly's ready to rock and roll. So this is the fighting fly. Thanks for hanging out. If you like what you're watching, give it a like, give it a subscribe, share it, hit the little bell so you know when I'm going to do my next drawing. And thanks for hanging with me today.